Hello, welcome to Clarkston Unknown. I'd like to introduce you to our guest today. We have Mrs. Karen Joliat. She is our Oakland County Commissioner for the 4th District, which covers the Clarkston and Waterford area. She also has close to a decade history in local government, including Waterford Township Trustee. Currently, Karen is here with us in the therapeutic environment of the McLaren Healing Garden, which is a hidden gem here in Clarkston. And Karen also has a background as a healthcare executive in pharmaceutical sales. Thank you, Karen, for for coming on to the show today.
Well, thank you for having me.
So today's episode, which we've discussed, is about local politics, local government, how important they are, and we've got quite significant happenings right now around redistricting. And we'd like to have a discussion about what this means for Clarkston and Waterford and how it relates back to the census and what this means for Independence Township.
Sure. Yes, very, very important issues to Clarkston, Waterford, and the state of Michigan. So back in a little bit of history, back in 2018, there was a constitutional amendment made for Proposal 2 to redistrict or to take the redistricting out of the legislative body and put it into the residents' hands, essentially. And that's what has happened. So, and that is based on those redistricting events happen when a census is done. And as we all know, there was the census that was done last year.
Right.
So the numbers, which is interesting, were supposed to come in from the census and be approved on March 31st, which would then lead to the commission that was set up to be able to do maps to get approved by November 1st.
Right.
Well, the census, due to the pandemic, is not able to get their numbers in and properly vetted until September 31st. Right. So there's no way that the commission that's doing the redistricting can come up with maps in that short a time.
Right.
So they have filed an amendment, I believe, to extend it to January for them to get, which is going to kind of lead things into kind of a conundrum because, as you know, locally, we have to have up and ready to go for the primary in August. And if we don't get the maps until January, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. So it'll be interesting to see how it all works out.
What do you think drove the extension from March to January, beyond just the normal conversation around the pandemic?
You know, other than that the census was just having a really hard time collecting all of the numbers, you know, and I know, and I'm sure you're aware of, it was all over that they were looking for census workers to get out and knock on doors and, you know, vet all of the information.
Now, do you think that the shortened time we have before the primaries is going to affect the redistricting?
You know, it'll be an interesting process to watch. This, you know, this is a constitutional amendment. Like, this has never happened before. Mm-hmm. And now, two, to throw that in the mix, kind of a rush to pull this together. The commission was appointed. There's 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and 5 independents. So it's 13 residents of Michigan that were selected. And they're going to be doing town halls, and they're going to be basing the new district lines on communities of interest. Okay. So they're going to hold town halls all over the state, all different hours, so everybody has a chance to participate that wants to participate. But I learned communities of interest. I wasn't sure what that was, but they're talking about things, economic issues, environmental issues, transportation issues, as to what cluster groups of people in different communities share these commonalities. Right. And then they'll draw the line around there.
Okay, fantastic. So how does this relate back to Independence Township? What will be what do we have to gain or lose here in Independence Township as far as redistricting?
Well, thankfully, or not thankfully, I mean, depending how you look at it, right. The redistricting is only going to affect federal and state seats. And so at that point, Michigan is in a deficit, is that we're going to lose a congressional seat because our census numbers came in lower than what is deemed. Right now we have 14 congressional people, and it's going to go down to 13. But the redistricting does not affect counties or local municipalities with this proposal. Now, with that being said, counties will be redistricted, but they do that with their Board of Commission. That has nothing to do with any of the rules that this proposal too has imposed federally and statewide. So Clarkston specifically, or my district, District 4, Waterford, and Clarkston, really just you're going to have to pay attention to the county commission, which will look at their population once the numbers come in to see what range of commissioners that they feel are needed within the parameter that they're allowed.
Right. So what you're saying is there's 14 currently, and we're going to reduce to 13. That means there's one less body in Washington.
Correct.
Or Michigan, and ultimately one less representative for Independence Township.
Correct.
Theoretically, not theoretically speaking, in a matter.
Residents of Michigan.
Right, exactly. So there's one less body that is our voice in DC.
Correct.
And that's a direct result of a census done at the local level. And so what else will occur when we have another redistricting in 2022 at the county level?
That I'm not sure of. I'm still learning with this.
Right.
I'm almost into a half a year at the commission, and so this will be a new process for me. I was not part of it 10 years ago when things were redistricted, and I believe we were at 20. At one time, Oakland County was at 25 commissioners, and we're now down to 21 commissioners. So I'm not sure what the numbers will hold once the census comes in and what the majority of the board wishes to do.
Absolutely.
But at a local level, it will not be affected in terms of your local, like your supervisor and your trustees. Those lines don't change.
Right. So how important it is, and what's on the line for the census and for each community member? One, to complete your census, and then what kind of financial gain or loss is there for that?
It's huge. I mean, there's $675 or $675 billion annually that can be reaped from the census. That equates about $8,000 per person, and it funds things such as education, the food programs at schools, just your municipality, your revenue sharing. All of these things that come into play with based on your population, and it's really, really important. And I don't think that enough people understand how important that is. I mean, I really didn't understand the magnitude or the impact of what the census had financially, how it impacted the money that we receive
Right.
locally. Beyond, it's big.
Right. So the less that's counted, not only the less voice we have in Washington, D.C., but the less dollars that we have for our schools, our roads, anything else that we have here, infrastructure, our township hall, all of that, right? Our Parks and Rec department, all of that.
It all trickles down.
And that comes right down to the local level, where typically most would say that, at a local level, politics, they're not quite sure what impact they have. I don't want to say that they don't see them as truly important, but this is where all of it happens, at this local level.
Absolutely.
And even it starts with the township trustee, moves up, then we've got our clerk and we've got our treasurer, our supervisors, moves up to the county level where you are as a commissioner, and so on and so forth. So could you explain, as your time as a Waterford Township trustee, some sort of impact, not some sort of impact, but what would be the largest level of project, or what made the largest difference as a trustee or at a local level that you could convey to the citizens or the residents of Independence Township that they have a say in?
At a local level,
Like, I should rephrase it. How important is it for
people to get involved at a
at
local level?
Yes.
Very, very important. If you want to truly affect where your tax dollars go, it's at the local level.
Yeah.
At a township level, there's cities and there's townships. So cities have your city council, but Waterford, and for this sake, Waterford and Independence have townships. We can change laws through resolutions and through ordinances, and I don't think that the public realizes what can be changed people that buy property, that bought property 10 years ago. Zoning laws can be changed through ordinances. So what you intended for a property 10 years ago and you go to build might not be feasible.
Right.
There is a due process, though. You can file a appeal and go plead your case. And usually they're pretty reasonable. But things about... there was a big garbage issue in Waterford because our infrastructure was deteriorating. And what do? And you can change laws by making an ordinance. And, not everybody's going to be happy. And people come in after the fact and wonder, well, how did this happen? I didn't get to say anything. And we're like, well, we had a public meeting. It was publicly posted. And it's so important that the residents come in and give input, because that really guides us as a board as to what direction to take. What does the public really want?
Right.
So,
and basically the direct connect to our government, our state government, is through local townships and boards.
oh, sure.
And so the largest advantage is to have this relationship with your local township and boards, because this goes directly to, right, our congressional seats, and then directly to
When
DC.
We wanted to, when we, past tense, when I was on the board and wanted to affect change, we would do that through resolutions, and we would put resolutions to the state, to our House, that would then move on if it had a federal issue. Revenue sharing was a big issue for Waterford, as I think it is for Independence. Everybody was hit pretty hard with that.
Yeah.
And through resolutions, it was our plea to state through facts as to, we're short, and do you want us to put this on the taxpayers to make up the difference?
Right.
So that's how, definitely, you come in, the residents would come in and communicate that, and we as a board knew that from doing budget, we would push that message on.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so with the Oakland County Commission, right, so what would you encourage your basically residents of Waterford and Clarkston to get involved in the Oakland County Commission level, and what level of impact would you be able to share with the group?
Everybody get involved. Go on the website. That's the best form of communication right now, is internet, especially with the pandemic. Board meetings are every other Thursday.
Now, are these open to the public?
They are open to the public. All meetings are pretty much open to the public, and the agenda is posted on the county website. So really, if you go on the internet and you look on the county's website and see what the agenda is, and there's all supporting material on there to say, is this something that I should be aware of and concerned about? And if it is, you need to call in and you need to make a public comment. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, or if you don't have the resources to do a call-in with the internet, you can send a letter, correspondence in, and there's a form to do that. And it will be read publicly out loud. And those do make a huge difference. People think, well, I'm one person, what's it going to matter? But believe me, it matters. Those public comments are huge. It really does guide us in making the correct decisions, especially for representing your district, the residents of each district.
All right. So what are some current hot topics at the county commission?
There's a sustainability plan that was just passed. It was not unanimous last Thursday.
Okay.
I think that we all agreed we were all on board with environmentally friendly things, but it was a rather large expenditure without any definite, tangible things purchased. So the Republicans had a hard time getting behind it, but it did pass.
Quite controversial, and there's no a clear and obvious return on investment with any of that.
And that's to spend that kind of money without having a tangible, solar panels or something,
right,
was a little bit concerning. The big issue right now is getting back to in-person.
Yeah.
And the state ruled that virtual meetings are over as of March 31st, and everybody needs to be back in person. But they put restrictions on 25 people or less, which makes it challenging because we as a board, there's 21 of us, and that's not even including staff, and they're all videotaped. So we're on hold right now. They've been pushed back till April 29th for different partitions, plexiglass partitions we put in at the county, so everybody feels comfortable coming back. But I don't know what Independence has done. I know Waterford has declared a state of emergency, I think through May, to return to in-person meetings. Right. So, I mean, I see both sides of it, but it's, we're getting vaccinated, and I feel like we're turning a corner. And for transparency's sake, I think it's very important that we need to get back to in-person. Yeah. And so everybody can participate and see what's going on.
Yeah, it's that difficult with that true like bond relationship community level with being, on a screen. Yes. And there's just something to be said for human interaction that's irreplaceable. It's irreplaceable. I think a lot of communities are going to be transitioning probably at the bridge of hybrid, yes. Half this, half that, for those a level of comfort. If you put 25 on there, then that leaves no room for any public.
Right, exactly.
So you'd have to do a hybrid, or you're going to have, you're not going to have the public.
I mean, we do have an overflow auditorium, but then it goes back to you're on a camera speaking through. So it's, I'm hoping we all get vaccinated soon and get back to business as usual, right?
Who knows if that's even going to do?
Well.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so if I want to get more involved in the local township, what would I do? What would I do how about with the county commission? What would you encourage someone that wanted to get involved on the county level, and where would you direct them?
I would direct them to the website to start paying attention to agendas. Beyond the Board of Commission, there's 4 committees that break out. There's Legislative Affairs, Public Health and Safety, Economic Development, and Finance. And in those committees, things are vetted, and then they go to the board. Okay. So if you have a particular area of interest that you would like to get to know more about, and beyond those committees, there's appointments to different boards within the commission. There's the Oakland County Health Network. There's the Parks and Rec Board. There's the Senior Commission for Aging. There's the Historical Commission. And those are appointments. So you need to get in touch with your commissioner and let them know that you wish to be appointed. Now, most of those are terms, so kind of put your name out there and wait for a slot to open. So again, you kind of vet what your area of interest is in that you'd like to get involved.
That's fantastic. So you can involve yourself into a set group, and you can get involved via appointment. And so there's elected and there's appointed positions. So there's really a spot for everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a spot for everyone, anyone that wants to get involved at the local level. So whether it's Parks and Rec all the way up to finance, there's fun stuff and there's boring stuff,
Right, exactly.
all in, what you like. But there's a way for anybody to get involved and just contact on the website and then go from there. And you can do something, I wouldn't say small, but you can even go and write a letter all the way to attending a full meeting, and they're all equally as important.
Call in, show up, write a letter. Yeah, absolutely. And there's youth assistance also. I'm going through the
youth assistance
committees that are,
And all it takes is one. So one person is that's all it takes, and it's not too small.
No, absolutely.
And
not.
so that brings us to the importance of local government and the importance of getting involved, and that this is where it happens, and this is where the movement's made, and nothing.
If you really want to watch where your tax dollars are going and want input, yes, local is where it's at.
Otherwise, we'll just spend your money.
So that's why public input's important. Yes.
So get involved.
Right.
So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thanks so much for asking me.
And it's almost, summer, so close, right? We've got
daffodils are coming up.
Up here. And hopefully we can enjoy this garden a little bit more through the summer, I encourage you all to contact the Oakland County Commission if you want to get more involved. Get involved in your local township, your Independence Township or Waterford Township. And then also come out here and enjoy a walk. I would say roughly it's about a half a mile around. It's peaceful, it's relaxing, it's great exercise. It's outdoors, which is we're all concerned over right now. So come on out to McLaren Healing Garden or get involved with Oakland County Township and have a great rest of your spring.